People say the entire conversation around Charlemagne's rise in the industry didn't really start heating up until people began digging into how quickly he moved up compared to others around him. On social platforms, users often revisit the moment he began getting high-profile interviews, wondering why doors opened for him so fast while others had to grind for years. Whispers online claim that something unseen pushed him forward, something that went beyond pure talent or hard work. These are only theories, but they circulate heavily, especially during moments when Charlemagne makes controversial comments that spark fresh debate. Some believe there were industry hands guiding him, while others think the rumors exaggerate what is simply a pattern of good timing. People speculate because his rise feels unusual. One moment he was getting fired from multiple radio jobs, and the next he was sitting across from rappers, actors, and politicians with massive cultural weight. It made people look back at his earliest days, hunting for patterns. How did he survive scandals that would have crushed other public figures? How did he manage to remain relevant even after repeated conflicts with celebrities? And why is his name always wrapped in stories that seem to appear and disappear without clear resolution? These theories don't prove anything, but the way they keep resurfacing shows how deeply people question the path he took. And just when these conversations start to fade, another unexpected twist in his story brings everything back into the spotlight, making people look again and wonder what was really going on behind the scenes.
Rumors say that the most intense discussions about Charlemagne's past come from a specific situation people keep referencing online. Even though the case was legally handled decades ago, online communities regularly bring it back with new interpretations, new theories, and new emotional reactions. What makes this section so heavily discussed is the way some users point out inconsistencies in old stories, while others argue that everything was already settled and shouldn't be revisited. This back and forth creates a constant cycle of debate that never seems to completely die down. People online often highlight how the situation reappears every time Charlemagne criticizes someone or inserts himself into a trending controversy. It's like the internet has a habit of pulling old files back into the spotlight the moment he becomes relevant again. Some people believe the repeated resurfacing is intentional, almost like certain groups want to keep him in check or remind him that the past will always follow him. Others think it's simply the nature of social media. Once something is public, it never fully disappears, no matter how much time passes. What fuels the conversation further is the emotional weight tied to the story. Even people who weren't alive when the situation happened feel strongly about it because clips, interviews, and old articles are easy to find. They keep circulating, remixing into new interpretations. The more people talk about Charlemagne today, the more these past moments echo through the internet. And according to online whispers, this isn't the only moment from his history that keeps resurfacing. Whispers online claim that what really pushes the conversation into a different direction is how Charlemagne seems to shift depending on the situation. Some people say he tries to maintain a balance between being bold and being careful, but sometimes the topics he engages in make people question where his loyalty actually lies. When he speaks openly about powerful figures, fans argue that he's fearless, but others speculate that he carefully chooses who he criticizes and who he avoids. This selective approach becomes one of the biggest discussion points in fan communities. Some believe this behavior isn't random. They say Charlemagne understands the industry too well to be reckless, especially after what he's already survived. It makes people wonder whether he knows more than he lets on, or if he's protecting himself by not crossing invisible lines that others might not even realize exist. These theories don't claim anything specific, but they illustrate the tension between his outspoken persona and the limits he never seems to cross. People also notice how whenever he addresses controversial topics, he often circles around certain individuals or situations rather than diving directly into them. Supporters say that's because he's matured and become more responsible. Critics say it feels like he's avoiding something bigger. These contrasting opinions create a constant tug-of-war, making people revisit his interviews, podcast episodes, and old clips to find patterns or hints. And every time a new conversation ignites, fans uncover another angle, another detail, another theory, feeding the cycle and setting the stage for the next twist. Some believe the turning point in how people discuss Charlemagne came when clips began circulating showing conflicting tones in different interviews. In some videos, he appears confrontational and fearless. In others, he seems careful, measured, even hesitant. These shifts in energy make viewers question what's genuine and what's strategic. People online say he adjusts based on who he's talking to, especially when the other person has significant influence, connections, or leverage. This idea has turned into one of the biggest ongoing debates surrounding him. Rumors say he built a survival tactic: speak boldly enough to stay relevant, but never push far enough to threaten the wrong individual. Fans say that's smart. Critics say it's suspicious. Either way, it adds a layer of mystery to his public image. People dig into moments where he seems unusually respectful during interviews with certain industry figures, while being extremely blunt with those who have less power. Some believe that balance is intentional, almost like he knows which conversations are safe and which ones aren't. On top of that, viewers point out that Charlemagne often hints at things indirectly, dropping vague references without naming names. This fuels speculation that he may be aware of larger stories or behind-the-scenes dynamics he doesn't want to fully expose. Theories grow from this silence, leading people to ask, is he protecting someone, protecting himself, or simply avoiding unnecessary trouble? These patterns only amplify curiosity about what he truly knows and what he chooses not to reveal.
Rumors suggest that one of the biggest reasons Charlemagne stays surrounded by mystery is the way he constantly reinvents himself. People say every time he faces backlash, he manages to shift his public image, like he steps into a new version of himself before the pressure gets too heavy. Some view this as a skill, saying he's mastered the art of survival in an industry where one wrong move can end everything. But others think it's a sign that he's hiding something deeper, something he doesn't want the public to see. This idea fuels endless speculation because every transformation brings new questions. Online users often point out how Charlemagne's personality evolved from wild and unpredictable to calm and spiritual. They wonder what caused the shift. Was it growth, strategy, or something else entirely? People say he started avoiding certain jokes, certain topics, and certain bold behaviors that used to define him. Some believe it's because he realized the consequences of saying too much, while others claim he received pressure from bigger players behind the scenes. What makes the conversation more intriguing is how carefully timed these changes seem. They often happen right when public interest spikes or when old controversies begin resurfacing. It's almost like he can sense when to pivot, slipping away from the storm before it fully forms. These patterns raise more theories, making people question what really drives his decisions and why he always seems one step ahead of trouble. All these shifts leave fans and critics watching closely, waiting for the next version of him to appear. Because people believe every transformation comes with a story he never fully explains.
Some believe the most unsettling part of Charlemagne's story is how many influential individuals stay aligned with him despite the controversies. People say this level of support isn't normal for someone who has been surrounded by as many heated discussions as he has. These connections raise eyebrows, especially when figures with long-standing reputations appear on his platform without hesitation. It makes online communities wonder what kind of relationships or agreements exist behind the scenes to maintain such stability. Rumors floating around suggest that Charlemagne understands exactly how to navigate social circles filled with power. Some say he knows when to stay silent, when to speak, and when to pivot.
This strategic approach keeps him connected to people who can protect him, promote him, or help him rebuild whenever trouble strikes. Critics argue that these alliances look too convenient, too clean considering the rough history he carries. Supporters, on the other hand, believe it's simply because people trust him. The speculation grows even more intense when people notice certain guests he rarely challenges or directly questions, even when the public expects him to. Online forums often analyze interviews frame by frame, comparing his tone with different individuals. They highlight patterns, the way his body language shifts, the way he avoids deep questions, or the way he subtly deflects when conversations move into uncomfortable territory. This idea that he might be carefully navigating around influential figures makes people wonder what he knows, what he's seen, and why he treats certain topics like invisible boundaries. Whether these boundaries exist or not, the perception alone keeps the theorizing alive.
Online whispers claim that one of the biggest mysteries surrounding Charlemagne is his ability to remain untouched by situations that would typically damage a public figure permanently. When someone else faces backlash, the consequences often last years. But with Charlemagne, people say the controversies fade faster than expected, almost like something pushes them out of the spotlight. This leads to speculation about what forces, if any, help maintain the stability of his career. Some people believe Charlemagne has mastered the art of controlling conversations. Whenever a rumor resurfaces, he redirects the narrative by bringing in trending guests, creating viral moments, or making statements that spark new discussions. This strategy moves the attention away from him and onto something more current. Fans see this as clever media management. Critics, however, think it feels too orchestrated, too perfectly timed to be coincidence. What adds to the mystery is the pattern of old stories disappearing from public memory right after he addresses them once or twice. People point out that very few entertainers maintain this level of resilience, especially when dealing with emotionally charged controversies. This has led some to theorize that Charlemagne has a deeper understanding of how public opinion works, or that he has support from industry players who know how to clean up his image when necessary. Whether any of this is true or not, the repetition of these patterns keeps fueling speculation, and every time something new happens, people go back through the archives, comparing notes, digging for clues, trying to connect dots no one is fully aligned yet.
People say the final piece of the Charlemagne puzzle is the way he talks about accountability. He often encourages others to confront their issues, face their mistakes, and own their past. But rumors suggest that when it comes to his own story, he chooses carefully which parts to discuss and which parts to leave vague. This difference between what he preaches and what he practices becomes a major talking point online. Viewers notice that he tends to use general language when referring to his personal history, broad phrases, spiritual insights, or lessons learned, without giving too many specifics. Some fans believe this reflects maturity and growth. Others think it's a defensive tactic to avoid reopening doors he'd rather keep closed. This contrast creates a sense of distance, like there's a hidden layer beneath everything he says. What deepens the speculation is how passionately he speaks about mental health, trauma, and healing. People say he uses these topics to reshape how the public views him, shifting attention from past controversies to his current persona. And while many applaud this transformation, others argue that it feels like a strategic shield, one that allows him to deflect questions without appearing evasive. These mixed reactions make every interview he gives feel like a puzzle. People listen not just to what he says, but what he doesn't say. They search for hidden meanings, contradictions, or subtle slips that reveal more than he intends. And it's this chase for clarity
this constant search for the missing pieces that keeps the online discussion alive long after the interviews end.
Don't forget to support the channel by liking the video and subscribing. See you soon!